Hey everyone, welcome back to Genai's World News. We've got a jam-packed show today, and we're kicking things off with a major story out of the Middle East. Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader who held power for over 3 decades, has been laid to rest. According to BBC News, enormous crowds gathered in the holy city of Mashhad in the early hours of Friday morning to witness the burial at the Imam Reza Shrine, one of the most sacred Shia Muslim sites in the world. The ceremony brought to a close 6 days of national mourning across Iran, with scenes of millions paying their respects across the country. But here's where things get tense. Even as those burial ceremonies were taking place, the Financial Times is reporting that U.S. forces carried out strikes on railway bridges in Iran, specifically on routes leading toward Mashhad, the very city where Khamenei was being interred. The timing is extraordinarily significant, and it underscores just how volatile the relationship between Washington and Tehran remains, even in the midst of a moment of national grief for Iran. The full geopolitical fallout from both Khamenei's death and these strikes is still unfolding, and this is absolutely a story we'll be tracking closely in the days ahead. All right, moving on, and this next story is raising serious alarm bells in Washington. The Financial Times is reporting that both OpenAI and Google have been supplying their artificial intelligence services to subsidiaries of some of China's biggest tech companies, namely Alibaba, Baidu, and Tencent. Now here's the catch. These are firms that appear on U.S. blacklists. The subsidiaries in question are registered in Singapore, which appears to have been used as a workaround to access American AI technology that would otherwise be off-limits. This is a significant development. The U.S. government has spent years trying to restrict the flow of cutting-edge technology to Chinese entities over national security concerns. And if major American AI companies have effectively been routing around those restrictions, even through technically legal structures, expect this to land in front of Congress fast. The Financial Times also notes this story featured prominently in their first FT morning briefing, suggesting this is being treated as one of the most consequential business meets geopolitics stories of the day. The question now is, what did these companies know, what did regulators know, and what happens next? Now let's talk about a truly historic moment in global financial markets. South Korean memory chipmaker SK Hynix has just completed a staggering $26.5 billion share sale on the Nasdaq, making it the largest ever U.S. stock market debut by any foreign company. According to BBC News, the shares are set to start trading on Friday, and the scale of this listing is genuinely unprecedented for an international firm entering American markets. The Financial Times adds some fascinating color to this story, noting that the listing could earn Wall Street investment bankers a jaw-dropping 9-figure fee. That's at least $100 million in banking commissions alone. SK Hynix is a dominant force in the global memory chip industry, particularly in the high-bandwidth memory chips that power AI systems, which has made it an incredibly hot commodity for investors riding the AI wave. However, the FT's opinion desk offers a word of caution, pointing out that some market observers see this mega listing as a sign of potentially overheated market conditions. When a single IPO absorbs tens of billions of dollars in a matter of days, it can signal that enthusiasm may be outpacing underlying fundamentals. Either way, this is a landmark moment for both the semiconductor industry and global capital markets. From financial markets to a devastating environmental crisis, Southern Europe is burning. BBC News is reporting that at least 11 people have lost their lives in a wildfire that tore through the Los Gallardos area in Spain's Almeria province. 6 more people were left with injuries. The blaze is part of a broader and brutal heat wave that has been gripping Southern Europe, pushing temperatures to dangerous extremes and creating perfect conditions for wildfires to ignite and spread rapidly. Almeria, situated in the southeastern corner of Spain, is already one of the driest and most arid regions in all of Europe. So when a wildfire takes hold there under these heat conditions, it can be extraordinarily difficult to contain. Residents in affected communities have been facing the terrifying reality of fires advancing faster than emergency services can respond. This is yet another grim reminder of the accelerating climate challenge facing the Mediterranean region. Fires, extreme heat, and drought have become recurring summer crises across Spain, Greece, Italy, and Portugal in recent years. Our thoughts are with the families of those who have lost their lives. Tragically, we have another deadly fire to report, this time from China. According to BBC News, at least 28 people have been killed in a factory fire in what the report describes as China's so-called shoe capital, a major manufacturing hub. Footage from the scene showed enormous flames erupting from the building, with thick black smoke billowing high into the sky. The images are harrowing. The scale of the death toll points to serious questions about fire safety protocols and emergency exit procedures in industrial facilities. China has grappled with recurring industrial fire disasters over the years, often linked to overcrowded factory floors, flammable materials, and insufficient fire suppression infrastructure. Authorities are investigating the cause of the blaze. For the families of the 28 victims, workers who simply went to their jobs that day, this is an unimaginable tragedy. We'll continue to follow developments as investigators piece together what went wrong. Here's a story that perfectly illustrates just how tangled the US-China tech rivalry has become. The Financial Times is reporting that Tencent, the Chinese tech behemoth, is set to become the largest shareholder in Manus, an artificial intelligence agent startup that Meta acquired for around $2 billion. But this isn't a straightforward investment story. The deal is actually being structured as an unwinding of Meta's original acquisition, after Beijing reportedly ordered the reversal of the US takeover. Let that sink in for a moment. The Chinese government essentially forced a major US tech company to hand back an AI startup, and now a Chinese tech giant is stepping in to fill that ownership vacuum. It's a remarkable demonstration of how Beijing is asserting control over which global entities can own strategically important AI companies with ties to China. For Meta, this represents a significant setback, losing a $2 billion acquisition under regulatory pressure from a foreign government. For Tencent, it's a major win in the global race for AI talent and technology. And for everyone watching the US-China tech war, it's another escalation in a conflict that shows absolutely no signs of cooling down. Shifting to economic policy now, Japan is making a significant move to redirect capital back into its own markets. The Financial Times reports that Japan's Finance Minister Satsuki Katayama has called on the country's massive public pension fund to shift a greater portion of its investments away from foreign assets and back into domestic ones. Japan's pension fund is one of the largest pools of investment capital on the planet, managing trillions of dollars, so even a marginal shift in its allocation strategy can have enormous ripple effects. The announcement had an immediate and positive impact on Japanese markets. According to the FT, the yen strengthened, Japanese government bonds were buoyed, and domestic stocks rallied on the news. Investors interpreted the signal as a meaningful commitment to supporting Japan's economy from within, particularly at a time when global uncertainty is high. This move fits into a broader pattern of Japan trying to reinvigorate domestic investment, boost wages, and escape the deflationary mindset that held the country back for decades. Whether the pension fund follows through, and to what degree, will be one of the key economic stories to watch out of Tokyo in the coming months. And before we wrap up, let's end on something that football fans around the world are talking about. Spain's national team, La Roja, have been absolutely extraordinary at this World Cup. The Financial Times has a fascinating deep dive into how Spain has managed to go the entire tournament without conceding a single goal. What makes this even more remarkable is the tactical philosophy behind it. Spain's approach is built on keeping virtually every outfield player pushed high into the opposition's half, an ultra-aggressive, possession-based system that suffocates opponents before they can even build an attack. The FT also touches on the broader human storyline. Morocco faced France in the quarterfinals, a match loaded with history given France's colonial past in Morocco. These are exactly the kinds of stories that make the World Cup about so much more than football. It's a tournament that's captivating billions of people globally, and Spain's defensive masterclass is one of the defining narratives of this edition. Whether they can keep that record intact all the way to the final remains to be seen. But right now, they look almost impossible to beat. And that's a wrap on today's Genai World News. It has been an absolutely massive day for global headlines. From the burial of a supreme leader to record-breaking IPOs, AI scandals, and deadly disasters. If you found this valuable, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. I'll see you in the next one.